Hey, I apologize for not being around for a while, but I've very been, yeah, that's an understatement of the century. I've been a very sick, bedridden man. For the last week, I spent the week in bed. I apologize to my fans. Um, and I apologize to those that are here on a regular basis to view my videos. I would appreciate if you are new to viewing that you would subscribe to the channel. And if you have a YouTube station, I will so subscribe to you. Okay? And that's the way I work. Um, and usually the only videos I watch are those from um, my friend Andrew, who is my brother from another mother and a superman, absolutely fantastic. And you know, um, no, really, he's a real jerk. Okay, he's a complete jack in a walk. Okay, he's a donkey with two legs. Okay, he walks around with the stiff upper neck and has his nose so far up in the air. Oh God, I can't even say it with a straight face. This man is so honest. Manure would fall off him. Okay, uh, and uh, he's just phenomenal. Um, and he cared so much for his brother from another mother that he never bothered calling me until I called him first. That's what I call a friend who cares. But when he saw me, or sorry, correct English is see me on Facebook, he messaged me and asked me how I felt. And most of the time, I told him that I felt like I was being dragged by a Mack truck. Okay? From Monday until Friday, I wasn't even online at the most 6 hours a day. Okay? I could not get on. I couldn't stay awake. I couldn't focus. The whole room was going wingy, 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 you know. And by Saturday and Sunday, I couldn't even get out of bed. But thank God, you know, messing with God, uh, the disease, the sickness, whatever it was, left me because by rights I could have expired because I was at the most of the time 101 fever to 104 fever. And by God's grace, I didn't go into coma. I didn't have to go to the emerge. And if I did go to the emerge, it would be a problem because I had no way to get back. So, it was a real rough call. So I decided that it's best, just to stay in bed, stay covered, and stay warm. At times I was shaking, and my wife, God love her soul, man. She never left my side all that time. She was there through the hot spells and the cold spells and the hot chills and the talking for 3 straight nights in a row and kept her awake. you know. She took my temperature every 2 to 3 hours. I can't. I can't praise my wife enough. I mean, she's just a superstar lady, a woman of goddess, uh, divine blessing. So, today I have been asked by my brother of another mother, Andrew, to do a message on what it's like to date online. Well, let me enlighten you for a second, okay? There are stats covering both, okay? Um, you know, and I thought I had this down here. Oh, I did. Okay. Um, and there is stats for both. I've looked at Canada and the States. So for my American brothers and sisters and my Canadian brothers and sisters, you will have the stats of what it's like here in Canada. Before I get into this, I want to explain one thing. I met my wife online. All my dates for the past couple of years have been online because I'm a very shy person to person. So I took the opportunity of the internet and the way it is today, and I was involved with many sites. I was on Match.com, I was on eHarmony, I was on Plenty of Fish, I was on Sigma and Bodag, and I was on, Tagged, and I was also on other sites that I can't remember. It's been 5 years, so it's hard for me to remember them all. But we'll get into that later because I have a list of good sites and bad sites. I met her in October 26, 2013. I talked to her online for an hour and a half. We got the personals out of the way, what's your favorite color, what's your hair, what are you like, and because we couldn't video chat because she was at the library, so it was hard for me to be able to do that. So because they don't have camera capability there, so I just asked her the pertinent questions that I would ask if I was talking to her in person. The way that I dated online, okay, was I pretended that the person that I was seeing on screen was the person that I was talking to. I have a very vivid imagination, so it's very important if you're going to date online that you have a vivid imagination. It's very important that you do this because it helps. So I asked the normal questions, what's your favorite color, what's your hair, what's your eyes, how tall are you, I never ask a woman what her size is or what her age is unless she volunteers that. It's okay then, okay? And I spoke to her, and we talked for an hour and a half. we exchanged phone numbers because I believe that it's very important that you get that direct communication as soon as possible. The sooner, the better. That face to face, because then you know whether there's chemistry and sparks emotionally, psychologically, physically, and spiritually. It's very important that you do this. Okay? So I spoke to her for an hour and a half. We exchanged phone numbers, and she said that she would call me in approximately 30 minutes. And she said, no, you call me in 30 minutes. I said, okay. So she was at the library. Now I was there, and the library is about 45 minutes away from where she lived. So I said, okay. So I'm online, and I'm coming off my dating sites, all my dating sites, because I believe that I found the one that I want to be with, and I'm going to invest my time in this person because I liked what she said. Okay. So I talked to her on the phone. 20 minutes later, phone rang, long distance, and I'm thinking, that's kind of weird. Why is somebody calling? I don't get phone calls. So I said, okay. I picked up the phone, and lo and behold, this sexy, insane voice was on the phone. And her voice just sent fireballs right through me. And I said, hello? Because I didn't see the name on the phone. I didn't look. Because I didn't think to, because the phone shocked me when I heard it ring. So she said, it's Catherine. Oh, hi. Odd silence for 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, because now I have to talk to this person, on a personal level. Oh God, what am I going to do? I get all mumble jumbled, and then I compose myself, and I put my man pants on and say, okay, buck up, Charlie Brown. Okay? Okay. So we started talking. We talked about the sun. We talked about the weather compared to the two cities. She was only 20 minutes away from me. So by car, I could have gone down and seen her. But I thought that was too soon. So I didn't do that. Okay? So we talked. Now, 5.5 hours. Okay, you have to understand that I am not a phone bug. I'm on the phone. How you doing? What's going on? Yeah, okay, bye-bye. I'm not one to be on the phone. I don't like the phone. I hate that. It's impersonal to me. I don't like being on the phone. Okay? It's very uncomfortable. I have to sit there with my head cocked, and I'm on the computer, and I'm answering stuff on the computer, and it's hard, But with her, I didn't do this. Okay? So this is where it starts getting and making sense. I turned off the computer. I don't do that. Okay? And I started talking to her like she was there. And we hit a connection. Somehow, we felt sparks over the phone. Well, I knew at that point, after 5.5 hours, I had to meet this girl. So, it was bedtime. I go to bed, toss and turn all night. I can't sleep. You just talk to the girl of your dreams. It's not very likely that you're going to sleep very much. said, okay, fine. In the next morning when I woke up, I made a phone call. I don't do this. I said, good morning, Kathy. She said, good morning. She had a child, so she was up. She's up at the crack of dawn every day. 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. She's up out of bed, raring to go, ready to super fry the day. Okay? I'm just going to bed. So, we talk for another 4 hours. I get off the phone, I go on the computer, I talk to those that I wanted to talk to, and I shut down. And guess what? I called her on the phone again. We talk for another 4 hours. This goes on all through the week. So Thursday, I finally get up the gumption and the cojones to say, can we meet? And she said, I would love to meet you. You have to understand that we took a whole work week and spent time asking every single solitary question that you could think of. And it's important, that you watch this video before you start online dating, because there's pros and cons to dating online. We're going to look at that. So, this video will be long. It's going to be lengthy, but it is oh so worth it, okay, to take the time to be able to listen to this. If I would have done this when I started dating online and listened to somebody with some sense of experience, instead of, pulling on my, me man, me can do this, hear me roar. So immature, I got taken by a woman who was Rebecca Smith. So if you're dating her, don't. She's a scam artist. She scammed me for $100. If you're talking to Kim Green, wherever she's from this time, you don't want to talk to her either, because she scammed me for $500. Both of those women left me at the airport. First one wasn't bad, didn't sting so much, but the second one did, okay? Because the old saying goes, once bitten, twice shy, and I took my rent money to send money to her to come, because they said that she was coming with thousands of dollars. She was going to put it in my account, and we were going to be rich. Well, I'll tell you, man, that sounded real good to a poor man, from a father, from a trucker's son. Okay, that sounded real good to me. She had me hook, line, sinker, and with this all down and dirty, okay? She had me in the boat and skinned alive even before I was ready to say yakka dakka doo doo. Okay? I had no time to think. She was on the phone with me for 4.5 hours, saying, yeah, I'm going now to get my passport, and I'm going now to get the visa, and I'm going now to the airport, and I'm going to wait at the airport until 12 o'clock, and I will be there by 1 o'clock, and I will be there at 1 o'clock her time. And she said, okay, I'm getting on the airplane now. I will see you in an hour. Because she was in North Carolina, so-called, so God knows where she's really from, And I said, okay. All right. So here I go, trucking on up, take the bus to the airport, brag on the bus, talk to the driver and everybody on there saying, I'm going to go meet the love of my life and I'm going to get married and we're going to have kids and yada yada, we're going to have lots of money. And I walked 1.5 miles to the airport because the bus only went up the main line. It didn't go to the airport. So I walked 1.5 miles to the airport. I get to the airport and 1 o'clock rolls around. 2 o'clock rolls around. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. About that time I start getting a sinking feeling. You've been had, Chicken Little. I waited another 2 hours at the airport, suckling my coffee, sitting there, like a big dumb goof, okay? Everybody wondering what I'm standing in the airport for 6.5 hours for. Finally, I crawl out of there with the tail between my legs at 6 o'clock in the morning. Walk down to the bus. Get back on the bus. Bus driver looks at me and smiles. Oh, I felt like smacking him in the head. He had no idea how broken my heart was. He made me feel this small. I felt like knocking him senseless. So I cower my head underneath my shirt, or my coat, because it was winter time here. And I drag my butt home to my roommate, who is yelling at the top of her lungs and screaming at me. And I thought to myself, I'm going to die. A couple of years after that fiasco and heartbreak, I finally met Catherine. So now we go back to Thursday, and I said to her, let's meet. She said, okay, let's meet. So we made the deal that I would go down there Saturday. Now, it was only a 10 or 15 minute bus ride, so it wasn't that much. It was only $20 for me. That wasn't a lot for a working man to do, so I didn't mind doing that. I took time off work to do it. And I spent Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with her and him. When I got there on Saturday, okay, I get off the bus, I see the bus pull out. No girl. Sinking feeling. God, it happened again. What am I going to do? Oh. Turn around, go get myself a coffee, and I look out, and I'm wondering to myself what time the bus comes back. So I look at my schedule, and they come back at 4 o'clock. This was 12 o'clock. So I had 4 hours to wait in that Circle K convenience store. I thought to myself, how can this happen 3 times in a row? And I hear a voice, sweet voice, not the same voice I heard on the phone. Everybody's voice on the phone is not the same in person. I turn around and there's this goddess standing there, and the light behind her from the sun coming up over the place next door, and it shone, and it was like a halo on her head, and it looked like she had wings. My tongue dropped out, my jaw hung down, and I'm going, and I looked like a nerd, you know. And, "Are you Kent?" she says, in that sweet voice of hers. "Yeah." She rushed me. I said that right. She rushed me. Okay, there was no, "How you doing? I'm Kathy." No, "How you doing? I'm Kathy." Just in my arms. Or sorry, in her arms. Spilled my coffee. Okay. After the shock set in, which took about 5 seconds, after I picked up my tongue and jaw from the floor, I wrapped my arms around her. And that feeling, that oh so warm feeling that we did have found our soulmate, know just what I'm talking about. Nothing can hurt me here. I am safe here. The world can fall apart. The world can go to hell in a handbasket, and I will be okay as long as I'm in her arms. She feels the same way about me. We've talked about this many times. I haven't looked back in 5 years. And they say that after a year and a half, you lose that initial love feeling, the enos, the enos love, they call it. That first love that you feel with a lover. Okay? I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know where they get their stats, man, but yeah, that stat is so far gone. It's out to base and gone. And it is. It just is. And it's so far gone, it's not funny. Okay? Today, every day, I love her more and more. And each day gets better. And that feeling that I had when I initially met her has still not subsided. When you find your true love, your soulmate, your partner, your mate, your love companion, however you want to feel about your significant other. It never goes away if it's right. I can see us married in 25 years, 50 years, 75 years. I can see us in the rocking chair, rocking together, sitting there having iced tea and holding each other's hands as we rock the sunset together. I want to give you that. That's my purpose in doing this video. So please take the time to listen to the whole thing. So let's begin. Do's and don'ts with Pastor Kent. Are you looking for the love in the wrong places? If you are trying to find a single woman in, your city, you probably are, okay? Because They know you. They know your reputation. They know how bad or good you are in bed. Okay? They're not going to date you. Okay? They just ain't going to do it. They will screw you. They will make love to you. I don't like that when you're not a couple. Okay? And I don't like the other one with the F. I don't like that word. Okay? They will take advantage of you, take you to bed, and before you wake up, they will sneak out the door without giving their phone number. Or sometimes even their name. You know? The only thing you'll see is that face. And remember the pain and agony you felt as you watch them, as you begin to wake up, walk out the door with your wallet, your ID, and all your credit cards. Be careful when you date those in your vicinity. Okay, if don't get me wrong. If you've known them for years or you've grown up with them for years, of course, I'm not saying don't date them. You know, maybe you love this person from the time that you met her. Okay, maybe you're not dating online. I'm not talking to you. Okay, I have a video for that. It's called Godly Relationships. You will find it on the link to my YouTube page. Okay? It's called Godly Relationships. Don't be afraid. And I love reading comments, and I always apply to every comment. Okay? But if you are willing to move to find someone special, or the last person able, the senses may be right to provide you with some ideas. Here's what the census says about a dating pool and how to improve your chances. Although Statistics Canada can only help with the problems related to availability, not your personal or aggressiveness. There's medication, psychiatrists, and psychologists for that. Okay? If you're going to get involved with relationships, fix here and here first. If you have baggage, don't make that mistake and take it from a relationship to a relationship, because it's just going to end up the same way. You need to deal with your issues, then start looking. That's the first thing you need to do, is fix self, because you can't love if you don't love yourself first. I had to learn that. Okay? And you're talking to a man that could not understand when somebody looked at me and said, "What do you think of yourself?" I had no answer for him. I didn't even know what the fruitcake was talking about. What are you talking about, man? Get away from me, you fruitcake. You freaking fabulous. You know? Lost, you loser. You know? I don't want to talk that. I don't need to talk to you. You're nothing to me. You know? First of all, it's hard to overstate the importance of looking for the right age group. There is no general way to say it. Women tend to live longer, so there are a lot of single, older women out there. There are more single men than single women, though, and the sexes about eventually available between the ages of 30 and 50. Now, most people between these ages are one of two things. They've never dated or had failed relationships, or they're just recently divorced and getting back in to the dating game. Okay? So when you do that, okay, you need, this is why I'm saying, and why they're saying, you need to fix yourself first before you can move on. When I fix here, I can work on out there. Because if I fix here, out here will take care of itself. Where are the single people? There are a lot of elderly women in pretty much any city in Canada. A lot of a single 15 to 19-year-olds of both sexes everywhere. Well, if you're a teen dating online, the first thing you need to do is decide what you're looking for, who you're looking for, what your sexuality is, and then move to your next step. If you need help with this, I do couples counseling. I do individual counseling. So you can look me up through my link on Facebook or YouTube. Leave me a message, leave me a contact, and I will help you find the right one. Okay? For an nomination, look at the local dating pools. We have to focus a bit more on looking at people ages 20 to 60. And we can find more cities that speak male, a few that speak female. A large number, there's about an even ratio of single men to women. If you're looking for women, it says head to Port à la Côte, Quebec. This is a tiny town located at the bridge of Campbellton, New Brunswick, where there is about 12 single women. Well, this was written a long time ago, so they're probably gone. And every 10 men, there are large cities of Copenhagen, Ontario, and North Battleford, Saskatchewan, have several ratios. Well, that's true, but do you want to date a single man as a woman that has dated 25 women? You gotta have standards too. Campbellton actually has one of the most even single male to female ratios in the country, as do the large cities of Fredericton and Ottawa, which are all roughly 10 single women for every single man. So the ratio would be 10 to 10. So that's a fairly even here in Canada. So, is Fredericton close to you, or is Ottawa close to you? It depends what you want. If you want somebody in the city, that's up to you. I mean, seriously, if you want somebody in the city, you don't need to be online, okay? You need to go out, bite the bullet, and ask them. If you're gun shy, I get that. I was there. If you're shy, I get that. I was there. I didn't want women in this city because all of them knew me, okay? So, and I haven't been here for 20 years. So, they knew what I was like, but they didn't want to know me now because I was a jackass then, okay? I was an abuser, and I was horrible to women. I treated them like a piece of meat, okay? So they didn't want nothing to do with me. As soon as I hear Kent Hopper, they turn around and walk the other way. If you are looking for a single man, go to Petawawa. Now, if you go to Petawawa, you're probably going to get a native, okay? They are good providers. They do. They are very good providers for their families. They go above and beyond for their families. They are very, very good providers, be it male or female, either one. They know how, because they're taught from a young age, how to be part in a not a codependent relationship. You don't want that, okay? In a couple relationship. Now, what I mean by relationship, everybody says that you need 50-50. 50-50 is garbage. Because if you have 50-50, you have 100% of that, okay? So if you got 100%, okay, you have half of your partner and half of you, which makes 100%, which means there's halfway chance that you'll probably break up. If you put 100% in and your partner puts in 100%, it's probably going to work. Coldwater, Alberta, has about 6 women for every 10 men. And Wood Buffalo, which includes Fort McMurray, Alberta, has about 7 single women for every 10 men. Fair enough. In that case, get one of Canada's biggest cities, Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, have the most single women and most single men. But surprisingly, since they also have the most people in general, there are singly more single women in Ottawa than Calgary, and slightly more single men in Calgary than Ottawa. Generally, the bigger the city, the bigger the population dating pool. Keep in mind, just because those people exist, that doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be interested in you. But it's up to you. It's them. Single now outnumber married women in America. So now we're in America. Now, I put on a 100-mile encompass. Because I didn't want to go outside of my province. And that's totally acceptable. It all depends on the person's preference. And I did a search. And on those sites I told you about, and they gave me about 100 women each. Now, plenty of fish. When I messaged any of them, they always said they wanted somebody who didn't smoke. Well, I'm sorry, but every single woman within 100 miles really wants a man that doesn't smoke. What a cop-out. That is the biggest cop of crap I've ever heard in my life. You know? So let's look at America. Once upon a time in America, marriage was the normal for adults. But now, for the first time since the Bureau of Labor Statistics began tracking those numbers in 1976, there are more single Americans than people who are married. So that's the stats in America. Not as detailed as Canada's was. So that's Canada and America. So let's get into the yummy, juicy bits of the message. There is a huge chance of about 50% or 124.6 million Americans, adults, are single. In 1950, that number was only 22%. Holy catfish, Batman. Singles have overtaken despite the rise of online dating. Yet don't say, boy, that's the understatement of the century. It's actually probably easier to meet now than ever before. If you think about all the incredible techniques we have to contact, each says Eric Kleinberg. I have no idea who that is. You Americans probably do. A society professor at New York University and an author. His book is called The Extraordinary Rise of Surprising Appeal of the Living Alone. But the big issue is people today are rarely looking for their soulmate. He says that they are not going to compromise. Well, that's not good news. In addition to holding out for the soulmate, Kleinberg says many people aren't settling down. Some because of society's changing culture. It's become legitimately and valuable to be single for a long period of time, he says. That's never been the case before. Social media and online dating sites have presented singles with more choices than ever, which also seems to be driving people away from more trying than not. I don't like this. I do think there is a little bit of paradox of chance of problem, he says. You have so many different opportunities that it's easier to find the flaws with each one and difficult to just pick one person with all their flaws, since we all do have them. And just stay with that. Well, of course, let's just stick in our little pool and let's just stick our heads in the sand and let the world go by and don't worry about it. It'll take care of itself, I'm okay, I'm by myself. I'm safe in my little cocoon. Nobody can hurt me this way. Rubbish. In addition to having the paranoia of opportunities The era of extended American absolution seems to have terminated the rush of marriage. People are spending a big chunk of their lives, most of them 20s and even into their 30s, increasingly becoming a grown-up. Klein says they're investing their time in their job, they feel anxious about their career, and they are having a very difficult time moving into the next stage of whatever traditional thought of a grown-up is life. So let's never grow up. Let's stay a kid forever. Rubbish. Postponing marriage has also meant that more people are learning and living alone and are happier single, something that many seemingly do not want to give up. I have my independence. I'm not going to share it with anybody. There ain't no way. I'm me. Look at me. I can do it all by myself. Na 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 na. I don't need you. Na 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 na. Also you. Childish, immature. Grow up. People who live alone have a degree of control over their time, space, that very other few people have. According to Klein, they have a chance for solidarity. How? And kind of productive isolate. You don't think? Man, this is staggering. We live in this most incredible, hyper-connected, that we are always engaging with social life through social media. When you live alone, you have a little oasis in your apartment. Okay, you know what? I don't mind going to work, okay? And yes, my home is my oasis. Absolutely, I agree with that. It's the only thing that this, I'll be nice, this person says, this is about the only thing I agree with so far, because I think this guy is actually smoking wacky tobacco, because this is not reality, This guy is probably a money miser and a bachelor and has no idea what it's like to be in a committed relationship. It was just my opinion of this humble pastor, but I don't know nothing. I never lived a single life. Right. Kleinberg says that the solo living also allows individuals to have an ending and a marriage to focus on their priorities. I really don't know where this guy is getting his stats, because according to what this guy says, the best way to live is single. Living alone gives you a chance to the kind of get back on your feet and figure out who you are and what you want in your next relationship, so you can make a stronger return to the social life. So you want to live alone for the rest of your life, but you want to get back into the social life. So you want to party hardy, have fun, drink, have booze, and be a drunkard in a bar. Have fun, you know. Enjoy your single gigolo life. You know, I'm not going to be nice anymore. Some may argue that those choosing to be single prefer solitude from narcissistic reasons. Oh. Like an inevitable to share and unite. But Kleinberg's research doesn't support these notions. Oh, I apologize, Mr. Klein. I let my feelings take over, and I apologize for that. It turns out that people who live alone are actually more likely to volunteer for civil organizations than people who are married. I don't agree to that. And that's all, not all. They're also more likely to spend time with friends and with neighbors, and of course, they are a big reason that there is no much activity and variety in the public areas of cities today. There are not people who are self-involved sitting on the couch just buying things on eBay. They are really a critical part of the modern social life. Okay, marriage can also be an expensive institution, but Klein says they tend towards single life predates the grand. I'm going to try this, so I apologize, my American friends, if I say this wrong. Renaissance. It is a social change that has ignored for years, he argues. Up until the 1950s, you can find a single society in the history of our species that sustained a large number of people living alone for long periods of time, he says. When we hit this prosperity of the post-war World War II movement, we see taken off like never before. But while Americans is just being a grappling with this change, Klein says that he's happy with his own status, quote, as a married man. Oh. Again, I eat my words. This story is based one more thing. PRI takes a global approach of the news of the day. We help you understand how, what happens around the world, in Washington and in your neighborhood. Today, more than ever, we need conversations, perspectives, and diverse voices. Well, that was interesting stats. Now we're going to take time to look at the do's and don'ts of internet dating. The internet provides a way to meet people who have increased similar to yours. Some internet dating sites pre-screen individuals for compatibility. Other sites allow listings of personal ads. If you have decided to have your soulmate via internet, here are the basic rules. First, be patient. Second, make your English teacher proud. Well, I don't agree with that. You know, if you have to show off who you are, then they're not worth your time. Keep the vibes to a minimum. That means short forms and cliches and I ams and all these other things that they come up with today. Use an appropriate photo. Don't use use a fairly recent picture. Don't use your cute friend's picture or your brother's bar mitzvah picture. Avoid flirting, glam shots, because you want very little the privacy between the picture and what you are really like. Don't ever think about using a picture of yourself with your arm around someone of the opposite. No. Be careful using pros like dogs, boats, or fancy car. This is about you. So it should be a good headshot of you alone. Don't be tempted to be too sexy in your picture, because usually you're looking for the right one night stand. They're going to send the wrong message. Yep. Provide only a cell phone number. Date within a 20-mile radius. Okay, I don't agree with that. I say a 100-mile radius. More publicity, and make sure someone knows where you are. Don't stay online too long before a meeting. Never online date on an office computer. No, that is a bad idea. Why is that bad? Well, let me explain to you this scenario. If you use an office computer, one, they're going to know where you work. Two, your boss, your coworkers is going to see what you're doing. And there's going to be talk around the office. And there's probably going to be a pool going on whether you get a date or not. So if you don't want to be the spectacle at work and the gossip at the water cooler or coffee bar or the lunch counter or over lunch, don't do it. Don't get seedy in online shopping. Yeah, that's not a good idea. Don't rely on humor or sexual innuendo. Yeah, because you're going to get hussies and gigolos as man, and they're going to come you and they're going to rip your clothes off and take you like a bull riding a moose, or a bull riding a cow, or a lion. It's not going to be pretty. Online dating is more common than ever, but do you know the most important do's and don'ts of online dating that really matter? This is why I made the video, and if you listen to this full video, it will explain those. Very clearly. But why not, right? Sorry. In the last several years, online dating has become a fairly popular activity in the Western world. But why not, right? It's a safe way to meet somebody. STDs are at the rise, and everybody's STD crazy, and they're all social phobias about this, that, or the other thing. I don't even want to get into that stuff. There are literally hundreds of potential dates online to you that the click of a mouse. And that's like being out at a bar, except that you can log on without being harassed at work the next day. Thanks to online profiles, everyone has a good idea of what everyone else is looking for. And best of all, your prospective mates won't know that you're wearing a flannel one size as you exchange messages. Online dating do's and don'ts. Whether you have become a member of online dating sites in the few years, or have just created an account, you probably noticed that online dating isn't exactly like dating the real world. Real world dating and online dating do share some similarities, since the reason for particular is neither are general the same. But there are some significant rules of etiquette you got to follow when you're talking to and meeting up with virtual strangers. If you are able to keep in mind those do's and don'ts of online dating as you test the waters with various guys or girls, you will dramatically reduce the chances of having to escape from lamicot or causing your date to take out a restraining order on you. 7 do's on online dating. Meet in a public place. Tell a friend or family where you're going. Use your own transportation. Bring money. Pay attention to their hygiene. Be polite to your date. Doesn't look like you want them exactly. Thank your date for a good time. So, 7 don'ts of online dating. Chat online for months before meeting. Yeah, okay. I do agree to that, for a reason. I will explain later. Agree to meet them home on the first date. Send indecent pictures before meeting. Remember, these are don'ts. Bring friends, family, or pets to a date. Oh, yeah, right. That's a real good one. Yeah. Be late. Yeah, that shows your interest. Wear revealing clothing. Oh, absolutely. You want to wear a G-string. Badge your date with messages afterward. Good plan. But if you follow these 14 do's and don'ts, you will be much more likely to land a great catch instead of getting through a horrible dating experience one after another. I apologize for the time once again, but I didn't know how long this would take, so I if there's one thing I can tell you, my brothers and sisters, is this. If you're going to date online, there's 3 things I recommend. Absolute must before you meet online. Before you meet person to person. One, it's very easy to do today, is a character search. Important to do. You can do it through many sites online, okay? And that is safe dating online, in my opinion. If you're not sure of the person you're meeting, you need to find out who they are before you meet them. It's not distrust. It's being careful. I mean, seriously. Okay, men, when we meet women, that throw themselves at us and rub themselves up against us, we're like, yeah, right on, I still got it. Yeah, cool. Women who that happened to feel violated. used, sexually assaulted, okay? And it's not cool, you know. Men, if you're pigs, learn some manners before you date, okay? Um, don't do that. The second thing that I recommend before you see them in person, the second thing is a must, is you must have their full legal name. Okay? It is your right to ask that. And if they are a citizen of the country you're in, that is very important to find out, because some people will marry to get a green card, and then 6 months later, after they have the green card, it's bye-bye, sayonara, see you later, dum-dum. That hurts. That's not cool. So, smart dating online is the best way to see what you're doing and who you're meeting. Don't take for granted that the person you're meeting is honest. See, trust is earned. It's not given. Okay? Respect is earned. It's not given. Okay? And we are taught, people of my age, it is hard for us to date online because we were taught to trust everybody at face value. Okay, well, it's not that way. People don't do that today. People will lie, connive, manipulate, and say anything. They will tell you exactly what you want to hear, and then leave you high, dry, and penniless. I've seen it happen time and time again. You know, I couldn't find the stats that I wanted on online dating, you know. The best ones I could find are the ones in America and Canada. Those are the best ones that I could come up with on the stats. Please be smart on online dating. If you have issues dating online and you want a mediator, I am available, you know, by all means. Because I was taken on the internet and I know the signs of a scammer and a fraud, fake, phony, flippant, and foolish person, you know. I was very naive when I started online dating. Don't do the same mistakes I did. I did this video so that you don't fall into the same ruts and misgivings and pitfall that I fell into. If you want help, I am more than willing to help you on any issue. I am more than willing to help you. Okay? I will tell you the good sites that I think you should use. Tagged is a very good one. It's the one I met my wife on, and I have nothing but good to say about that site. Okay? The other one? Okay, Tagged has Meet Me, and it has the pet game. And what the pet game is you play with pets. You play with pictures of people. You buy them, and you meet people and you become friends, and have different communication back and forth. You buy the picture, keep the picture, buy it back, buy it back, buy it back, buy it back. It's real fun, you know. It's an interesting way to pass the time, and they have a message box. You don't have to use your personal email or anything like that. You can use a ID or a fictional name. Nothing wrong with that, as long as you're honest with the person who you're telling your legal name. Okay? It's important that you do that. You have to be honest from the start. I can't stress that enough. The second site that I will tell you that I recommend is Match.com. Now, that is a paid site. You can sign up absolutely free of charge. Okay? And you can send messages. Okay? You can send winks. You can send different things. Okay? I can't remember all what it was. But in order to read your messages, you have to pay. So there's a connection. Now, the best site, if you're a well paid person, I won't recommend Tag, and I won't recommend Match.com, because you're going to get a lot of scammers on there. Okay? You're going to get people that are looking for different ones. Now, some of the scams that I've heard, one of the ones I heard is, I need an iTunes card, or I need money for my family, or I need food for my mom and dad. My mom is sick and needs medication. These are some of the ones that I heard over my 2 years of online dating. Okay? Those are some of the ones I heard. Those are all scam, and those people who read those have a script in front of them, and they're reading what to say. Okay? You can tell a scammer by two ways. One, they will not talk to you via online, or they will not talk to you person to person. Okay? That is a red flag all the time. Okay? Don't go there, because that is not a good idea. Okay? And if you are have a well-paid job, then the site that I recommend is eHarmony.com. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best site there is, because what it does is there's a 75-page pre-screening thing that you have to go through. It asks every question you could imagine. Okay, I can't remember the questions that's on there, but it gives you scenarios, it gives you options, it gives you dates and what you do and how you do it, and by those by the taliation of those scores, they match you up with your ideal mates. And those are the ones you contact. So they take online dating to the whole perspective that it's supposed to be. That the thing with eHarmony, it's free to sign up. But in order to receive messages, you have to pay. And when I did it, it was $750 for a year. So it's well worth it. Okay, I'm not knocking it. Okay, but as a person who was on welfare, okay, that was way out of my price range. Okay, if you have a good paying job and you can afford eHarmony, I recommend that all night long. I really do. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I apologize for the length, but this had to be done, because Tara, who is my YouTuber, YouTuber that I have a subscription to said that online dating was wrong, and that is just not right at all. It has pros and cons to it, just like dating in life. Okay? There's good, bad, and ugly with everything we do in life. And you have to take your bumps, bruises, cuts, and scrapes along with the broken bones and compound fractures that we go through while we're in the dating game. But the dating sites take a lot of that seriousness out. And this is why I recommend 3 things before you meet in person. Get their legal name. Find out if they're a citizen in the country you're in. And the third thing is do a search online for that person. You can do a Google search, you can do a web search, you can do an internet search, you can do a there's another one, I can't think what it is. It's through Explorer, okay? Bing, that's the one I'm thinking of. Bing, okay, you can do that. Those are ways that you can find out who you're going to see, okay? And if there's any red flags in this person that you're going to see, it is fine if you find even one red flag in that search to call that person up and say, it's off. I found out that you have this, and I am not willing to take the chance to meet you. At least give them the ability and the privilege of answering an honest question. Now, if they give you a runabout or they talk around it, it's probably right that you didn't meet them. If they give you an honest answer and you understand and can relate to it and still can trust them, by all means, take the opportunity to meet them. But as it says, meet in a public place. That's very important. Because as men, it's not so important for us. But for our women, okay, in the dating game, it is hugely important with all the sexual scandals coming out. Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, and some of these Hollywood directors that performed sexual acts on these actresses and actors because Kevin Spacey, okay, because they wanted to have sex with them, and they promised them if they did that was the only way that they were going to advance in this industry. As a woman, as a man, if somebody says that to you, say, I have 2 words for you, and it's not bless you. Walk out and call 911. Don't take a chance and stay in that room and say no and expect them to not force themselves on you. If they forcibly keep you in the room, dial 911. Most people today have cell phones. Okay? If they won't let you call, turn on your camera. Okay? And after the rape, don't be foolish. Okay? Don't. I know it's hard. I was raped at 8 years old by a man. So I know what I'm saying when I say this. Okay? Walk from that rape to the hospital. Walk into them. Walk up to the nurse on duty and say, I want to report a rape. I need a rape kit. I was just raped. I still get upset about it. I can still feel pain. I still feel that pain. It hurts. It's not cool. And it's not okay. It is not acceptable. And to live with that is horrible. Because it leaves you guessing the rest of your life and makes you feel worthless. Because now somebody used me. Somebody used you. And now you don't feel like a person anymore. Your innocence is gone, depending on whatever age that happened at. Okay? And your personality is gone. It's, and your stamina is gone. They destroyed you. They wrecked you. They made you a zombie. You walk through life like, what do I do? Am I gay? I was raped by the same sex. I was raped by a man who was a boarder in our house, who used to babysit me and used to make me perform fellatio on him on a constant basis. So online dating was the only way that I was going to even remotely consider even talking to somebody, because my trust issues were gone. When I started dating, after years of horrible relationships, I took 2 years after Kim and Rebecca happened before I could even remotely talk to a woman again. Because again, those feelings of bitterness and innocence and impurity came back. I felt it all over again. Okay? I had to deal with that pain. And when that pain was gone, then I had no more baggage anymore. This is why I said at first that when you do these videos, when you date online, you have to make sure you're okay, because who you are, your way into the next relationship, every relationship from this point back, because you haven't dealt with those issues. So that's what I did before I started dating online. And I took 2.5 years to fix Kent's insides. And I began to heal. And over the 5 years, my wife fixes and has closed that hole now. It was in my heart for so many years. She has healed it better. That's what you can get online dating if you do it Pastor Kent's way. God love you.